Right away, we're just going to start off with the idea generation, which is sometimes the difficult part for most, stories or creations for most people. I feel like a lot of the times when you're trying to develop something, especially for my submission that I created for the UGC contest, I really wanted to dedicate this to like something that I got inspired of. Either it was, sometimes I like to get inspiration from movies or TV shows or stuff that I just watch. And that weekend, I was actually watching a movie, and I don't know if you guys have watched Spy Kids. I got actually inspired by that movie. I was watching it, and it was super cool because the way that they have like a lot of like weird buildings, and it's just super isolated. Sometimes the scenes that they have, it was super cool, and I got inspired just like by the island vibe. I wanted to give it like a very like a lone, isolated island with the topo being, stranded in the island. So my inspiration was from the Spy Kids, and then pretty much from there, I kind of used ChatGPT, and I kind of threw in like a shot list or kind of like an idea of what I wanted it for me to create. And the idea was pretty much just to have Topo in an island where he was stranded. Pretty much, he discovered a bloom, and then the bloom, it's pretty much a power tool for him to kind of, build out the city around him. And throughout the whole scene, there's different types of environments that I built. I built, I think, just one base, and this base we're gonna be going through the scenes. I built 3 scenes, I believe, but I utilized that base in 3 different sections just to kind of build the story. Building the story for me was kind of building it throughout while I was building. So it was kind of difficult because I didn't have like really a main scene pre-built. This was something that I pretty much have to build myself and kind of, fix my cameras and stuff. Because a lot of times when you have a pre-made scene, it's kind of easier to visualize where you want to place your cameras, or usually you kind of already have an idea to previs your shots or where you're going to be placing your animations. So for this one, it was really difficult because again, I didn't have my scene and I had to build my scene. So first I ended up working on my scene, and then noticed that I was like, hold on, I need my character because the character is super important. You always need to have kind of like a size portion for your buildings, for your environment, and just to, get the perfect size for everything. So that was my next, shot where it was, getting the character rigged. So I'm going to show you guys pretty much where I started right here. So we have Topo. We ended up using him as our base main character. As you guys can see here, we added some little things. Those little things that kind of brought him to life were right away the bone constraints on the hair. So we added a little bit of bones right here. As you guys can see, when I press play, the wiggles are right here on the hair. And these were just some things where I noticed sometimes in the game, it doesn't have any type of animation or any type of life. So I just thought, give it some type of little action and something unique where, maybe people can notice it. Not something crazy, but pretty noticeable. Another thing as well was Topo doesn't blink at all, so I had to tweak it. You guys can see it's not the best, super ugly here, but I pretty much went in and I made my own shape keys to create the blinking animations. These were super easy to do. You just pretty much had to like take some time and adjust the blinking. So then when you press play, you do get your blinks. And you can kind of repeat that. These are just keyframe animations. So this was Topo. Topo was pretty fun to rig. I had such a fun time rigging him, especially since he was like the main character. It was like something that I wanted to utilize and have him as the main attention of the whole scene. Another thing as well is Topo has no expressions. Topo, this is how he looks right off the bat when you get him from the Nifty Island assets. So I've done some tricks before where you kind of utilize 2D images. Um, you kind of just make it like as a plane. You subdivide it a bunch of times and you just attach it onto your phase, onto your ball, whatever you want it to have. And this is just like a little trick that I learned. from watching YouTube videos and just others that animate and make cool stuff. So I ended up finding 4 facial expressions, and, actually it was 1, and then I went into Midjourney and I generated 3 facial expressions. So I believe the first one was this one, which was idle, and then I also generated open smile, I generated shocked, and I generated smirk. So with these little ones, as you guys can see, like just right away with the smirk, it's super expressive. Even with the shock, gave him like a really shocked feeling. So that's what I did for my expressions. If you guys were curious about that. So now we're gonna kind of move out from building the scene. So I'm gonna close this. We're gonna open up the first scene that we started off from. So here's the scene, guys. Nothing crazy, nothing wild. Pretty much when I start off with my scenes, I always like to start off with having like a base point of camera where I want to start from. And this one, I kind of told myself like I want to start off with a drone shot, maybe kind of like a movie shot where it's very isolated in the opening. And right away, I was just like, cool, I'm gonna start off with an opening shot from the top, have it go down. And yeah, so I made sure that I pretty much had like a big mountain up here. I made sure that I had the Nifty Island logo spinning. I also had some dynamics where we implemented some of the leaves to be moving around with some wind, as well as the water here was animated. This was nothing crazy. This was just a shading animation here. So you guys can see the water is moving. So yeah, it was just pretty much messing around with the scene here. Some of these things that you see that are like clouds and stuff, these are just like planes. They were nothing like volumetrics, to make my scene heavy. It was just pretty much stuff that can look heavy in my scene. But realistically, a lot of these things, they just look really good. And a lot of the times I try my best to optimize my textures or my images that I have just to do the best to, run on my PC because I currently have a 3080. I do have a 4080 laptop and hopefully I can get my 5090 soon. So it's just sometimes having a graphics card that can run certain things is sometimes an issue, but thankfully I've managed, to optimize my scenes just so that, we can work around them way much better. So for the first shot for this scene, again, we added just 3 cameras, which was my opening camera, as you guys can see. Then we went to my second camera, which was adding this coming in shot. For the mocaps, what I ended up using was my mocap suit. In the beginning for this one, I didn't have to utilize my mocap suit just because, again, it's a very easy animation here. My character is not doing nothing wild. All I had to do here was just add a couple of keyframes to the hand. And, you guys can see here, he just kind of reaches for it. And it's just, adding keyframes here, giving it that look. But for other than that, we're going to move into the next shot, which was this one where he starts building. He pretty much had something wrong with his armature in the beginning, and it was very hard for me to utilize the IK rig from Mixamo. So we're gonna go back to where I started pretty much, which was the process. So a lot of the times with bringing up the character for your scene, when you film the mocap and everything, a lot of the times you get different types of bones that aren't, the same dimension as your retargeting animation. So I had issues with this one, kind of with his wrist, because he doesn't have a lot of bones. It's just pretty much, the way that the humanoid body is, he doesn't just have enough room for joints. So I had to add another bone, and I pretty much made him more humanoid because, again, there were some issues with his rig and character. So that was a part where we ended up having to go and do the cleaning mocap, and it was super fun because this was something where I didn't have my gloves ready, and thankfully I kind of already have the gist of knowing how to animate the fingers, adding just basic keyframes. So as you guys can see here, we kind of did that for this one. Super easy. Thankfully, how I said, adding cameras can sometimes be the trick because you can see that the hand here was just very stiff and not the best. But with the cameras where we had him, we were just moving it around. And as you can see here on the right side, it kind of hides that perspective and that angle from the messed up joints in the hand. And these are just little hiccups where, people were not paying attention to. I'm sure, if like a animation like perfect pro or a teacher that's really good animating, they would notice these type of little things. But again, this is something where I cooked up in less than pretty much a couple of hours. I had a short notice on this, and again, just by having an idea, it really helped me implement my shots, my idea for building the scene, and just like the whole idea generation was implemented just because of the the pipeline that I pretty much implemented. So we ended up doing that for this scene. That was super fun right here, where we're kind of building, we're working on just carving out Nifty Island, working hard, working hard with the blooms. So then from that scene, we ended up kind of, going to the point where it was now growing, it was developing. So for this shot, I kind of wanted it to be super expressive. So right here, you can kind of see where it's in a really wide angle to where it gives a lot of focus on the main character. And I kind of wanted it to be where, he looks at the bloom and he kind of looks up like, you know what? I'm gonna make it up there. And then that's where I kind of got the whole inspiration, mainly from this starting point shot where I wanted to implement the final shot, which was then this shot here. Um, Here he's pretty much pointing towards the bloom. This is where he's kind of praying, looking at the bloom or at the island token, and he's kind of like wanting to take over it and just be the best at it. So this was just kind of like another scene where I wanted to express victory. I wanted him to have like that expression of, we're going to be taking this over. We're going to be winners. And, a lot of times, even me, when I play Nifty Island and I take like one victory, I feel like I won. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, cool. Yeah, let me just change it here so I can show them what I'm talking about. Sorry, guys. Thank you guys for reminding me. I don't have my chat open. So this is the shot that I'm talking about here, guys. So for this shot, this was the one that kind of implemented where it was just kind of expressing a lot of energy here for this one. It was just because, like I wanted it to be super expressive. The mocaps for these had nothing to do, nothing crazy. I'm gonna actually go back to the other one so I can express it to you guys. It was really cool. So let's go back to that one. Thanks for reminding me, guys. And also, you guys, if you guys have any questions, please make sure you guys hold them through because I will be answering them. Any questions, if you guys want me to go back to something, I'll definitely go back to it and show you guys a little bit more. Real quick, I'm just gonna open up this file just so I can talk over it one more time because I wasn't sharing it. It's right here. Perfect. Building. Cool. So this is a shot where I was talking about my hand, where if a professional animator was looking at it, they would definitely be like, oh, like he just kind of did it quick. And, because again, this is something where I did it in less than I believe it was like a couple of days. I don't know how many hours, but it was for sure a couple of days. I seen it on my feed, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give it a go. Try to participate. This was the first few days where I pulled out my mocap suit. Thankfully, I got it. And again, I didn't have my mocap gloves to do the finger animations. So the topo, he had long fingers, like super long fingers. So for this one, I just had to go in manually, just kind of close them in, and just give that little expression where, he was working hard. And for this one, we were just, building. We were utilizing the bloom again that he found in the beginning of the shot. He was utilizing this, as a power tool, to make it all the way to the top. And as you can see here, we're kind of utilizing a lot of like the camera work just because, sometimes there's parts here where you can see that, I kind of go over the wood here. But again, the camera work is so like, it always does the magic because you can kind of adjust your camera height. You can adjust it to where, it's going to be different places and nobody's going to be noticing that, unless you see the behind the scenes. You go through their files. But yeah, this is something where I kind of just wanted to mess with a lot of cool little tricks, a lot of cool stuff where, we brought Topo to life because Topo, um, he looks cool without a smile and without him blinking. But I just thought, why don't we make him blink? Why don't we make him smile and give him some expression so that, he can be happy and be in a whole different world. So then for this one, again, we just wanted to express victory. I wanted people to kind of feel like he built something. So I just thought maybe him being on top of this mountain and, looking at the nifty gold, ticket up there, felt like it was just something super expressive and a lot of people ended up did liking it. I think we all, whenever we take victories, like, on Ifty Island, it feels good. So whenever I took my victory, it was just super dope because, a lot of people did participate and there was so many talented creators. So the fact that, a lot of people voted for me was super fun and dope, and the fact that I'm able to share content like this with you guys is super cool. And yes, if you guys have any questions, please let me know. We're gonna talk about could talk about anything. Breb, you have any questions, brother? Let me open chat here. Mm-mm-mm. Hmm. For this one, I have actually a shot list that I have. I'll actually share that with you, D-Boss. I have just basic uh depth of fields set for these. So a lot of the times I choose either between a really wide angle. So for example, this one was a 18. So this was kind of like a really far one, just to get like, the that depth of him, being like a tall character. So I usually use between 18 to 24 to 35 and 50. And sometimes even just to get like that little blur in the background, I utilize like, 150, 120, somewhere around those lines. But this one had a lot of mixed shots around with like the 23, as you can see here. 18 was also 18, 24. So it's a mix between those. Another thing I suggest also is just, messing around with the focal length. A lot of people, they're scared to touch it. But yeah, man, like I feel like that's the best part for me that I've been, with this whole Blender journey. It's just trial and error, either whether I'm messing with the focal length, messing with the depth of field, adding, just different things, man. It's super fun. How do you come up with animation stories that are possible to create? So, again, it's just kind of implementing a base structure for your idea. The way that I kind of sometimes come up with ideas is either by inspiration. Sometimes I'll be like either on social media, on X, on TikTok, wherever I see stuff, either getting inspired from that, or if you already kind of have a vision of what you're wanting to do with your animation story or with anything in general, I feel like it's always having like that base structure, because once you have that base structure, you can pretty much implement anything, you know. You can kind of direct it. You have more focus on the vision that you want instead of, just kind of, throwing it out and kind of guessing, because guessing kind of dilutes your inspiration and your goals on what you're kind of going for. Let's say for me, for example, if this was just to be something random, it would not have no type of like direction, no type of understanding. It would just be a render, animation or something. But thankfully, how I said, I kind of plotted my shot. So I can kind of post here. I'm going to be sharing the shot list that I did just so that you can have it and get an idea of what, you know, I was kind of utilizing for my workflow. Because getting like the camera shot list, that's something as well that kind of helped me out, the middle part, the ending, and it was just very directing for me. That's gonna help you out a lot if you definitely take a look. Yes, so that's definitely something. Post production is just it's like that's definitely something else by itself. A lot of the times that either can be done through here, where you can do it through Blender, or if you utilize other editing tools where you make your sequences, you can definitely do it through there as well. But yeah, that's definitely just a bunch of different ways how you can do that. For sound design, I utilize CapCut. Sometimes if I want to go like full like logged in, I'll utilize DaVinci Resolve just to color grade and utilize the nodes. But sometimes, even color grading, nowadays you don't need a lot. All you need to understand is knowing how to adjust the contrast, knowing how to, add the basic colors that you want, knowing kind of the look that you're going for. That's, the best goal for color grading, especially for me. Sometimes, I'm not the best color grader, but just already kind of knowing with the vibes that I'm going for, it helps me a lot just because, I can add a warm texture to it, a warm tint, or put the brightness up, or add more contrast, sharpness, etc. And sound design, that's just based off of you. A lot of people, they're different. A lot of people, they like to make their own sound designs, and a lot of people like to get the sounds and match them up, and it's super creative. That's why one thing that I love about, just this whole process of creating, it's that people's pipelines are so different. Some people will utilize the pipeline of sound design and they'll focus just on that. And sometimes even sound design will be the main important thing for the final render, and that's what makes it more amazing, just because it brings your final render to life and everybody is more in tune with the actual sound. And sometimes not even the image. If anybody has any more questions, definitely ask away. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day too. Thank you guys for stopping by as well. Appreciate you guys. Mm. How do you suggest someone to get started with this kind of project? So I definitely recommend watching a lot of YouTube videos for sure. If it's in general for any type of submission, I just kind of recommend utilizing what you're familiar with. A lot of people, even if it's preset add-ons or preset scenes, I would kind of start off with the preset scene just so you can kind of, get familiar with practicing with your cameras, get familiar with, utilizing mocaps from either Mixamo or download, mocap animations, or even if you can make them yourself, there's a lot of cool apps now that you can just pull out your phone, record yourself, do an animation, and then just, retarget the animation to your character. And then now all you pretty much have to do from your end is add, the character to your scene, add the cameras, add the lighting, and you composite your whole scene, which is the amazing part. Once you see the final render, it's like, damn, like I really did that. It feels super amazing. It feels fun. But I definitely recommend first just get familiar with the base. Um, have an idea with what you want to create. It doesn't have to be something, like this with what I did. It can be just a basic render. It can be an image. It can be, a little clip. It doesn't have to be nothing crazy. One thing I suggest, if you're really trying to take it serious with Blender, is kind of dedicate at least 2 to 3 hours on Blender. If you get bored, stop and just do something else. Because a lot of the times when you kind of overwork yourself, it's happened to me. You kind of lose motivation, especially for something that it's kind of like a hobby. But once you start treating it like an actual job, that's when it kind of becomes really hard because you kind of start seeing it like, oh, I need the funds for this, or it just becomes a financial thing. And thankfully, I'm blessed, to have an established job, and this is kind of like my hobby where I just create and have fun, and I'm able. Well, thankfully, this year I was able to afford my motion capture suit. That's something that I never would have thought I would have had, but some investors invested in me. They seen my work, they loved it, and when you're doing cool stuff, people are gonna support you. And thankfully, by seeing that support, it just kind of kept me motivated and elevated to where I'm able to share my knowledge with you guys and others. So it's just like that. I feel like you'll grow, but it's all just a process. Definitely just find yourself, because a lot of people, they definitely want to do renders, but once you kind of see the time that you have to spend on, creating a scene or creating a certain image, um, you kind of lose some motivation just because, you're gonna like be like, damn, isn't it take me 3, 4 hours just to make this scene? I'm gonna have to dedicate a whole day, or it becomes that process. But once you kind of see the final render or your final project, it just becomes something where you're hungry for more, you want to learn more, and you kind of start implementing more cool things into your renders to the point where you're going to start, making cool animations, and you get commissioned and just continue to elevate. I feel like that's the goal with this, just elevating, 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 open doors, collab with people. Thank you, D-Boss. Likewise, brother. Appreciate you. But yeah, guys, if you guys have any more questions, definitely don't be shy. You guys never really get the time to talk to me. I'm usually MIA. I'm always just either in my own little world. So I definitely love to socialize with you guys and be here. Oh, for sure. For sure, D. I got you, man. So one easy way that you can utilize a control rig, I can actually show you real quick. It's nothing hard. So there's actually this add-on. I'm sure you know about it, but pretty much when you have a character with just a Mixamo armature, a lot of times you can utilize that character with with an IK rig, and you can utilize it with Mixamo's IK setup. So that's my workflow, how I've been utilizing the IK rig for this. I'll actually just show you. So I'm gonna clear out the keyframes for this, clean this out. Cool. So this is just a regular Mixamo armature. You can see the name here, Mixamo armature. So if you utilize the add-on for Mixamo, you just select your character, and then once you select your character, this is at least my workflow for when I retarget my animations. What I have to do is pretty much just duplicate this one, So now I have two. And then what I do here is this one, I just zero it out. So I select 0, it will turn blue. Then I create my control rig. Here you can select apply animations. Usually I turn that off. And then I just keep IK arms and IK legs. So then bam, it generates an IK setup. So then now when you pretty much control this arm here, we'll turn on our mirroring. You're gonna see the other side, as well be controlled. Here you go. So now you have, your IK rig set up. And yeah. And then the reason why I did the other armature here is because whenever you have a mocap, so for example, I'm gonna go to one of my motion captures here that I just filmed today. So when you utilize your mocap, that's what we kind of do to retarget it. So I'm gonna utilize this one. So real quick, I'm just gonna go into Rococo. That's the one that I use to retarget. I select my animation that I brought in, which is the one in the bottom, as you can see. And then I retarget to the new one, which was the armature that I copied before I made it into an IK rig. So then I build my bone list. This animation that's on this reference is going to go to this one, like so. Oh, it kind of broke it, like so. So that then this one can be retargeted to this. So we just retarget it. 1 second. Move it here. This is not my main file here. Here, I can show you real quick. Cool. So then here, you can use this one. 4865. Okay, this one. Yeah. So yeah, we'll use the mocap again, bring it in, retarget. And the reason why we have to do two is just because a lot of times when you have an IK rig, it causes an issue where you can't utilize this one for this IK rig. So you just got to use like the armature that you copied. So I'll show you real quick once we do the basic retarget. So now we select the Mixamo add-on that we utilize to make the IK rig. And then we just apply our animation control rig to this one here. And you'll see now, once I let it load up, the mocap is going to be transferred to this character. As you can see in the bottom, it's our reference. So I can just delete that one. And then there's add-ons that they've created now that you can kind of utilize for layering. It's just a little bit more in depth for animating and cleaning up animations. But what you have to do is just utilize the animation layers. Once you use animation layers, you pretty much can have full control. So you just make one keyframe here, make a keyframe here. So you guys can see that's already 1 point. And just like the parts where they're extruding, that's where I've kind of, add like the adjustments. So then when you press play, they'll have like that fixed thing. And you just go more in it, clean up everything, adjust it, move it back in place. So yeah, so you just pretty much, go full in depth with cleaning up mocaps. But that's how you utilize the IK rig, and that's how you retarget a animation. So again, you will first need a basic Mixamo armature. And then if you do make it into an IK rig and you want to get animations for Mixamo or any platform, you want to pretty much duplicate the armature so that it's two. And then you want to apply the Mixamo IK rig setup for this. And then for you to just retarget it, you're going to retarget it utilizing the Mixamo add-on that you use to make the IK rig. And all you have to do is just select this character armature and then you're gonna apply the animation control rig to the IK, if that makes sense. And then you're set. Of course, bro, always. If you have any more questions, definitely don't hesitate to DM. Definitely, hit me up if you're interested in one-on-ones. Appreciate you. I've helped a lot of students just in the beginning of the year. Actually, one of my students that he first was really hesitant because he works like a regular 9 to 5 on Amazon, and he was saving up some money for a PC setup. He was able to get it financed. Um, he was paying it monthly, I believe. So he finally got his PC, and we locked in on Blender for just 2 weeks. Every Friday we were locking in, I believe it was 3 to 4 hours, just creating cool stuff on Blender. It was stuff from Pinterest, just ideas that he liked, images, stuff that he felt inspired from, and I helped them with everything. We kind of learned from the whole pipeline to utilizing lighting, pipeline from utilizing cameras, shape keys, keyframes, rendering, compositing. Like I teach them everything, and within those 2 weeks, his investment of $400 that he paid for my class, he ended up turning that into $1,500 for a project that he got. So it's cool little things like that where a lot of people, even if they're barely learning, they find like their niche, they find their vibe, they find their style, and they can then take the opportunity to even leap and be like, hey, look, I'm ready to create. If you need work done, let me know. I'm ready to start doing it for you. So definitely let me send me a DM if you're interested, and we can definitely get talking. I currently have a few students in my list right now, and a few other that are trying to get on right after these students get done. So I'll definitely keep you informed on that. I feel like it's a good season and a good time right now to learn Blender. A lot of 3D projects and a lot of people are kind of rotating to the 3D scene now, just because it's important. Even if you have a 3D project, if you guys are listening, it's cool to have a base 3D character, even if the character is different and unique. Try to just have a 3D model of your character with shape keys, have it optimized, let it be, open source to where people can make, renders for that. And it's going to be beneficial. Not only is it beneficial for your project, but it will also, help like the people want to get inspired and kind of be a part of something with the 3D item. Even for Nifty Island, thankfully Nifty Island, they have, a bunch of ways to implement assets. Oh man, definitely. If you are inspired by visuals for DJs and stuff, you can definitely for sure enjoy one of my courses. I feel like that's something as well that, a lot of people kind of don't over they kind of oversee it. The people just think that animations are just for, fun videos and animations. But you can pretty much do a lot of things. You can get into so many different avenues just by 3D. Grace, so currently I'm only doing personal one-on-ones. I'm building my website at the moment, currently working on that, just so it can be something where people have, direct, sources and Google Drives and just more, one-on-one direct stuff where, maybe even get onto Discord calls. So once that is done, I'll definitely post more information about that. But right now it's just directly through my messages and setting up a session with me. But I definitely recommend first, definitely some YouTube, get warmed up, get an idea of just like the basic, shortcuts and setups, and maybe, deck out your Blender overlay, your UI. And yeah, man, just get inspired. And once you're ready, we can definitely take it to the next level and cook up. But yeah, guys, if you guys have any more questions, please let me know. If not, I'll definitely get out of you guys' hair because I know you guys have amazing stuff to do this Friday. And I know also Breb has a lot of stuff to do. So yeah, if you guys have any more questions, please post them. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you, bro. Of course. Thank you. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you, Leah. Again, guys, we're just gonna talk over my process. So again, my process for my pipeline for when I do submissions at least, it's gonna be the idea generation. So either getting a basic layout for my video that I want it to be. And then once I have that, I generate my shot list. So this is going to be wide shots, close ups, mid shots, whatever shots that I want it to be. I make my shot list. And then that's going to be kind of where I'm going to be looking back and forth to be like, cool, maybe I can do a close up. No, I'll do a wide angle. No, I'll do a far, and then I kind of just pick and choose through my different layers, my different, values that I have set up for my cameras and I go from there. And then once I have that, I start building my characters because again, the character is important just so you can kind of have a skill of your scene. And then once that's done, you start kind of building out your scene, either blocking it or just start implementing a bunch of preset assets or just a bunch of stuff that you have. If you have a motion capture animation, you definitely want to film that, get that done. Maybe take like 4 or 5 different takes for your expressions. One good app that you can utilize from your phone is Move One AI. That's a monthly subscription app or annual subscription. Super cool. You can just film with your iPhone or with your Android. And another option, which is a bit more advanced, it is the Rococo motion capture suite. That is like a $2,000 to $3,000 suit, but it's super worth it because you get full finger tracking, full face tracking, full bones, everything. Super cool. So that's definitely the way you can go for the filming the mocaps. And then of course, the cleanups for motion captures. A lot of motion captures are gonna have sometimes jitters or they're gonna be too close into your body. So just taking the time, taking maybe 30, 40 seconds, a minute, an hour, whatever you have to take just to clean up your animations is gonna make your life so much better. Once that is done, you can just start adding your cameras, start messing with different angles, different, points from your scenes where you want to add cameras. A lot of the times I utilize like 4 to 5 cameras in my scenes just because you want it to be very fluid and just wanted to switch around the vibes. Composite. Compositing is something where you can kind of go in it, and if you want, you can already kind of start color grading via compositing. That's another thing where if you kind of want to focus on adding haze, adding a little bit of fog, definitely do it in compositing just so that you won't have to utilize a lot of your PC resources. And yeah, you start rendering. A lot of the times I utilize a render farm. The best render farm that I've used to this date is Octorender, Octaspace to be honest. And yeah, you can utilize your own PC as well, but if you're trying to push it out within 3 days, a render farm is the way. Yes, thank you. That is the mocap suit. Move AI, the app. Yes, super cool. They're both great. Get the job done. There's other alternatives too. There's like a bunch. You can definitely find like 10 different alternatives, different prices, and different things. Oh Lord, what is it, Breb? It's the giveaway, right? Nice. Appreciate you, brother. But yeah, guys, that's definitely what I wanted to, to showcase today and talk about. Again, my inspiration for this was Spy Kids. If you guys want, watch that movie today. Super cool. If you never watched it, it's a throwback movie. You're gonna kind of get inspired by it. You might find it weird, but I don't know. I got inspired by it. It's cool. course. Let's go. Let's go. Good raffle. See who's gonna win. Thank you guys. If you guys definitely want another session, let me know either in DMs or whatever questions you guys have, what you guys want to know from me, definitely let me know. Maybe for the next session, we'll do like a whole editing, scene where we add sound design, we add, some music, we find it together, and then I can kind of share those assets with you guys so you guys can have them yourself. But yeah, we can do more things, guys. Just always let the team know, and I'm always willing to have a session and share however whatever knowledge I can with you guys.